www.whisky.de, dem Treffpunkt feiner Geister. Und ich bin mal wieder in den Highlands. Ja, also hinter mir sind definitiv Berge, aber ich bin nicht in den schottischen Highlands, das kann man sehen. Ich bin in Israel und zwar bin ich ja in der Wüste nahe dem Toten Meer. Und heute soll es um die M&H Brennerei gehen. Aber ich fange euch einfach mal ein bisschen, ich hole euch mal ein bisschen ab, was gibt es hier in Israel. Israel ist ein wahnsinnig interessantes Land am Mittelmeer und wir sind jetzt am Toten Meer, was interessant ist. Wir haben hier so die Berge, sehr, sehr biblisch hier mit verschiedenen, Höhlen und verschiedenen Ausgrabungsstätten und alten, großen Schriften, also sehr, sehr viel geschrieben hier im Hebräischen, sogar noch das Hebräisch, was wirklich hier auch noch geschrieben wird. Also die Leute, die hier die Höhlenmalereien anschauen, die sehen immer noch die gleiche Schrift wie heutzutage. Sehr, sehr interessant, also sehr, sehr historischer Ort. Und im Hintergrund hinter mir sieht man das Tote Meer. Das kommt später noch mal ein bisschen hier zum Tragen, weil das Tote Meer ist wirklich ein sehr, sehr besonderer Platz mit extrem viel Salz und auch noch ganz vielen anderen Eigenheiten. Und ihr seht schon, ich trage heute Mütze, weil ja, das Klima hier ist auch noch sehr, sehr, sehr interessant. Aber lasst uns mal ein bisschen über die M&H Brennerei reden. Die M&H Brennerei ist nicht hier am Toten Meer, sondern sie ist am Mittelmeer in Tel Aviv. Und es ist sie ist 2012 gegründet worden von Gal Kalkstein, also wirklich ein Pionier, der sich gesagt hat, wir brauchen auch mal eine Whiskybrennerei in Tel Aviv. Und damals waren sie wirklich diejenigen, die es als erstes gegründet haben und sie waren die einzige. Mittlerweile haben noch ein paar andere danach gezogen und sind wirklich, der Pioniergeist steckte in Gal Kalkstein und er hat diese Brennerei in Tel Aviv aufgebaut und es ist sehr, sehr interessant. Es gibt keine Regeln, wie man Whisky macht, weil hier ist noch nie Whisky produziert worden. Also Wein ist sehr, sehr reglementiert, was koscher ist und was nicht, aber Whisky überhaupt nicht reglementiert. Und deswegen haben sie gesagt, okay, wir nehmen uns einfach mal ein starkes, ein sehr, sehr heftiges, das stärkste Reglement. Also wir gehen nach den schottischen Regeln, bis auf das, dass sie nicht in Schottland produzieren. Aber nach allen Regeln, die die Schotten sich auferlegen, produzieren sie hier Whisky. Und das zeigt so ein bisschen die alte Tradition. Und das wird auch wieder gespiegelt in Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv gibt es eben noch die alte Stadt Jaffa, was Teil von Tel Aviv ist, was sehr, sehr alt ist, mit sehr, sehr vielen Gemäuern, sehr, sehr vielen historischen Gebäuden, der alten St. Paul's Cathedral und auch noch ganz vielen anderen religiösen Städten. Und dann gibt es die andere Seite von Tel Aviv, die neue und die innovative Seite, die freiheitliche Seite. Die Partyseite. Also Tel Aviv ist eine Stadt mit einer Non-Stop-Party. Man hat immer Leute, die irgendwie Beachvolleyball spielen, Musik hören, am Strand sind. Auch eine Cocktail- und Barszene, die in Tel Aviv ist. Also es ist wirklich eine Stadt, die ist, man merkt, sie ist am Leben. Und das ist wahnsinnig schön und das wollen die in ihrer Brennerei vereinen. Also ich habe gesagt, 2012 sind sie gegründet worden, 2015 sind sie in Produktion gegangen. Aber sie haben nicht einfach selbst das Ganze gemacht, sie haben sich jemanden geholt, der wirklich Ahnung davon hat. Und zwar nicht jemanden aus Schottland, also jemand, der klassisch in Schottland die Brennereien aufmacht, da gibt es auch eine ganze Menge Leute. Sie haben sich Dr. Jim Swan geholt. Und Dr. Jim Swan hat schon die Amrut-Brennerei und die Kavalan-Brennerei im Grunde begleitet, unterstützt, mit ihnen aufgemacht. Und der hat wirklich Ahnung davon, wie man in einem so heißen Klima eine Whiskybrennerei aufmacht. Da gibt es nämlich eine ganze Menge Sachen zu beachten, dass man nicht am Ende irgendwo einen völlig überlagerten, völlig astringierenden, bitteren Whisky bekommt, sondern einen richtig, Hot Climate, richtig heißes Klima, schön gelagerten Whisky bekommt. Das ist nämlich gar nicht so einfach. Und das gucken wir uns heute an und jetzt gehen wir mal zurück in die Brennerei. Die Brennerei bezieht ihre Gerste aus England, Deutschland und Tschechien, weil das die Länder sind, in denen gute Gerste in Europa angebaut wird und die auch eine große Tradition des Melzens haben und die Qualitätsstandards für so eine gute Brennerei entsprechen. Die Hefe kommt übrigens aus Belgien. Das Wasser ist natürlich lokal, muss aber, da es aus dem normalen Leitungsnetz kommt, nochmal stark demineralisiert werden, um auch eine Qualität zu erreichen, in der man keine Bitterstoffe produzieren würde mit diesem Wasser. Der erste Produktionsschritt ist wie immer hinter mir die Mash Tun, eine sehr, sehr moderne Mash Tun, wobei sie mit den Rechen in der Mash Tun sehr, sehr, sehr langsam arbeiten, um ein Clear Wort zu bekommen. Also da gibt es ja immer diese Clear Wort und Cloudy Wort, und Clear Wort sind diejenigen, diese Produktionsschritte, in denen man das Clear Wort produziert, in denen man schon vorarbeitet, dass man einen sehr schön süßen, fruchtigen Charakter bekommt. Und das ist genau das, was Sie hier haben wollen. Sehr neu, modern, Edelstahl, effizient, und nach diesem Auslösen des Zuckers, das man übrigens hier nur zweimal machen muss, weil man so neu, modern und effizient ist. Und das geht dann weiter in die Fermentation. Jetzt kommen wir zur eigentlichen Alkoholproduktion. Durch den Zusatz von Hefe entsteht mit dem Zucker und der Hefe CO2 und Energie und auch Alkohol. Und nicht nur das, sondern auch Geschmack. Und das ist wirklich besonders, denn normalerweise nach circa 40 Stunden hätte man schon die Alkoholstärke, die man will, so 7 bis 8%. Aber hier bei der Brennerei lässt man es noch zwischen 48 und 96 Stunden ruhen, und da arbeitet dann immer noch weitere Bakterien, Lactobakterien arbeiten dann noch und bringen dann noch andere Geschmäcke rein. Durch das Clear Wort und diese teilweise lange Fermentationsdauer kriegen wir eine ganze Menge sehr schöne Geschmacksrichtungen rein, und die sind dann richtig, richtig schön fruchtig. Also das ist so ein bisschen das, was man hier gerne macht. Aber auch hier, haben Sie mir schon gesagt, experimentieren Sie gerne mal. Sie nutzen mal nicht nur Ihre normale Distillers Yeast, oder Sie machen mal andere Längen oder verschiedene andere Experimente. Es gibt eine ganze Menge Stellschrauben, die man hier verändern kann. Und eine Stellschraube, die Sie auch noch haben, aber die Sie fast immer zwingend einsetzen, ist die Temperatur, die Sie einstellen. Denn hier haben wir sehr neue Washbacks, 6 an der Zahl, mit, ich glaube, 7000 Litern Kapazität, werden bis 6000 befüllt, und die haben noch einen Wassermantel. Also es ist ein doppelwandiges Gefäß. Innen drin kommt das Fermentationsgut, außenrum ist ein kühlender Wassermantel, und Sie lassen die ganze Geschichte aufheizen bis auf 33 Grad, kühlen es dann immer runter bis auf 30. Also halten Sie die Temperatur zwischen 30 und 33 Grad. Sie sind ja eine Koscher-Brennerei, deswegen müssen Sie sich auch an den Sabbat heiligen, und dort nicht arbeiten. Deswegen haben Sie diese 48 bis 96 Stunden. Es wird aber alles vermischt. Das heißt, am Ende bekommt man einen konsistenten, gleichschmeckenden Rohbrand. Ja, also wegen der ganzen Temperatur braucht man den Wassermantel. Aber mit dem Wassermantel kann man dann auch spielen, wo man sagt, okay, lass uns mal eine Fermentation länger machen und die Temperatur noch ein bisschen niedriger. Dann arbeitet die Hefe ganz anders, denn Hefe fängt an zu wachsen, kannibalisiert sich und macht ganz, ganz andere Geschichten. Wenn man einfach die Hefe wachsen lassen würde bei hohen Temperaturen, dann würde das auch wieder ganz wilde und teilweise auch bittere Geschmäcker mit reinbringen. Also ist es hier bei diesen hohen Temperaturen in Tel Aviv, ist es zwingend notwendig, dass Sie einen Wassermantel einsetzen. Die Frage ist nur, wie Sie ihn einsetzen. Ja, nachdem wir dann 7 bis 8% Alkohol durch eben diesen Prozess bekommen haben, geht es weiter in die Destillation. Die Destillation hier ist wirklich die Krux. Und zwar geht es hier darum, wie leicht und wie schwer darf unser Rohbrand sein. Aber ich fange einfach gleich ganz von Anfang an. Wir haben hier unser Wash oder unser Bier mit 7 bis 8% Alkohol drin, destillieren es extrem schnell durch und haben dann die Low Wines oder das Zwischendestillat, das dann hier in der Spirit Still ankommt mit dem Nachlauf und Vorlauf der vorigen Charge, und hier wird dann gebrannt. Und hier ist so eine Abwägung. Einerseits müssen Sie Ihre Cuts sehr, sehr hoch setzen, 80 bis 70%, bis sehr, sehr hohe Cuts sind. um wenig Nachlauf, wenig von den schweren Stoffen in ihrem Rohbrand haben. Denn mit den schweren Stoffen kommen sie nicht klar. Denn man muss ein bisschen nach vorne denken. Was kommt als nächstes? Die Lagerung. In gemäßigtem Klima kann man einfach die schweren Stoffe, die würzigen Stoffe mitnehmen. Die schweren Stoffe werden über die Lagerung ein Stückchen rausgereift, über die reduktive Lagerung. Das geht hier nicht. Wir können nicht so lang reifen hier in Tel Aviv. Das funktioniert nicht. Deswegen müssen sie hier so hohe Cuts haben, so wenig Nachlauf haben, weil sie diese ungewollten Stoffe nicht rausreifen können. Das Dumme ist natürlich, wenn man die Cuts dann so hoch setzt, bekommt man einen extrem leichten Spirit. Also einen sehr, sehr extrem leichten Rohbrand. Und man will ja ein gewisses Volumen, ein bisschen Körper und ein bisschen interessanten Geschmack drin haben. Also müssen Sie sich ein bisschen was überlegen. Sie haben zwar eine Einschnürung, aber Sie haben einen Leinarm, der fällt. Und ich glaube auch, dass Sie relativ schnell destillieren, um eben diesen öligen, kräftigeren Charakter schon in Ihrem Anfangsstadium mit zu destillieren, um eben diesen kräftigen Charakter im Rohbrand zu kriegen, aber eben die schweren, bitteren Stoffe, die Sie nicht rausreifen können, in die Faints reinbringen und dann über katalytische Reaktionen so weit zu leichteren Stoffen abzubauen, dass sie gut vorhanden sind. Ja. Und jetzt gehen wir weiter und gucken uns mal, wie eben diese besondere Reifung abläuft. Kommen wir zur Lagerung der Brennerei. Und ja, es ist wahnsinnig heiß. In Tel Aviv ist es zurzeit 30 Grad warm. Es sind 300 Sonnentage und im Winter wird es nicht wirklich kalt. Also da hat man immer noch irgendwo 20 Grad und im Sommer kann es dann hoch bis auf 40 Grad gehen. Die Brennerei hat hier in der Destillerie und in den Lagerhäusern circa 4000 Fässer. Aber sie haben auch noch andere Standorte, zum Beispiel einen am See von Galiläa und einen in den Bergen um Jerusalem und einen am Toten Meer. Und da kommen wir dann noch mal irgendwann später dazu. Ich habe da noch sogar eine kleine Szene drehen können. Ja, was dann sehr, sehr interessant ist, 300 Sonnentage, 30 Grad durchschnittlich, da hat man dann ein Angels Share von circa 11%. Das ist wahnsinnig viel. Das hat gewisse Nachteile. A, man verliert 10% seiner Ware pro Jahr und andererseits steigt der Alkohol im Fass, also man hat keine Probleme mit älteren Whiskys, ältere Whisky hat man eh nicht, die irgendwo zu viel Alkohol verloren hätten. Und das Interessante ist aber, mit der Luftfeuchtigkeit, die auch variiert in Tel Aviv, variiert auch die ABV-Anzahl, also der Alkohol im Fass. Also der Alkohol geht auf und ab. Und ja, sie lagern relativ kurz. Also sie lagern mindestens 3 Jahre, weil sie sich an die schottischen Whisky-Regeln halten. Aber sie lagern nicht viel länger. Und da haben sie sich so ein bisschen geschaut. Die Schotten sagen immer, ja, unser Whisky schläft für mindestens 12 Jahre. Und hier sagen sie, in Tel Aviv schläft man nicht. Also der Whisky in Tel Aviv schläft nicht, er arbeitet. Und das sieht man wirklich. Also die Fässer sind wirklich am Arbeiten. Es ist wahnsinnig viel Austausch und man hat wahnsinnig viel additive Reifung. Wenn man sich anschaut, sie haben 75% bis 80% Bourbonfässer. Und sie haben nur Refill-Fässer von circa 10–15%. Denn nach der ersten Lagerung ist das Fass ziemlich ausgelaugt. Also da kommt aus dem Fass nicht mehr viel raus. Also der Anteil an Refill-Fässern ist hier sehr, sehr niedrig, weil diese Fässer stark ausgelaugt wären und man dann hohen Angels Share hätte, wenig additive Reifung und dadurch einen langweiligen Whisky. So, also deswegen fast immer frische Fässer. Sie haben auch einen Teil Virgin Oak Cask, sie haben STR Cask, heißt Shaved Toasted Recharred, also ein wieder aufgearbeitetes Fass. Dann haben sie eine ganze Menge Weinfässer, also richtig viel Wein, vor allem aus Israel. Also israelischer Wein ist ein sehr fruchtiger, wieder so ein Wein wie Australien oder Südafrika, wo es einfach sehr, sehr heiß und sehr, sehr süße Weine gibt, natürlich süße Weine. Und dann haben sie aber auch noch gewisse Sherry-Fässer und verschiedene andere Fässer. Was das kleine Fass da drüben macht, also ich glaube, das heißt dann irgendwann Holz im Glas, wenn man es abgefüllt hat. Also sie sind schon sehr, sehr additiv verbreitet. Man kann ein bisschen dagegen arbeiten, indem man ja, die größeren Fässer, die 250, die 300 Liter Fässer. Sie sagen, sie gehen ungern unter 200 Litern, weil dann einfach zu viel Holz ins Fass, in den Whisky kommt. Ja, gut, schon recht viel geredet hier. Wie gesagt, kurze Lagerung. Und jetzt schauen wir uns mal an, was passiert, wenn man ein Fass am Toten Meer lagert. Da gibt es nämlich ganz spezielle Regeln. Ich bin jetzt am Toten Meer. In Hebräisch heißt das Tote Meer gar nicht Totes Meer, sondern es heißt Salzmeer. Also sie nennen dieses Meer Salzmeer, weil es einfach so salzhaltig ist. Wir nennen es Totes Meer, weil da nichts drin lebt. Also es ist so viel Salz drin, dass einfach, es leben vielleicht ein paar Amöben oder vielleicht irgendwo ein paar kleinere Algen oder sowas da drin, aber da lebt fast nichts drin. Es ist einfach ein totes Meer. Man hat keine Fische, keine Meerestiere drin. Aber darum soll es nicht gehen. Wir interessieren uns mal hier, was passiert, wenn man Whisky am Toten Meer lagert. Es hat komplett andere Voraussetzungen als jegliche andere Lagerung. Wer sich denkt, okay, wir haben einen Meereseinfluss, der ist komplett falsch. Also es hat keinen Meereseinfluss. Die Luft ist sehr trocken hier. Wir haben jetzt keinen wahnsinnigen Salzgehalt in der Luft, weil es einfach so trocken ist. Und es ist so heiß. Wir sind so am Anfang des Sommers mit 30 Grad Celsius. 50 Grad Celsius ist das, was Maximum hier erreicht. Und das hat einen großen Einfluss hier. Denn das Holz arbeitet viel stärker. Man merkt schon, das Holz geht auch ein Stückchen auf. Und oben kann es sein, dass das Holz trockener wird, wenn ein bisschen der Angels Share von 25% pro Jahr das Fass ein bisschen leert, kann es oben sein, dass das Fass ein bisschen trocken wird. Und das ist so der Einfluss. Also es ist eine wahnsinnig schnelle, starke Reifung, weil das Holz bei dieser Temperaturen wirklich sehr viel arbeitet. Was aber auch noch interessant ist, das Tote Meer, wusste ich vorher auch nicht, ist der niedrigste natürliche Punkt auf der Erde. Mit irgendwo minus 400 Meter unter dem Meeresspiegel. Sehr interessant. Und was das bedeutet ist, wir haben einen viel höheren Luftdruck. Also wenn man sich sagt, okay, man geht auf den Berg, hat man einen niedrigeren Luftdruck und hier minus 400 Meter unter dem Meeresspiegel hat man natürlich einen höheren Luftdruck. Und das merkt man, wenn man hier runterfährt von Jerusalem, die liegen auf 900 Metern. Wenn man hier runterfährt auf minus 400 Metern, merkt man sogar so ein bisschen, ja, ist es wie wenn man von einem Berg runterfährt. Gut, genug geredet. Dieser hohe Luftdruck gibt dem Ganzen auch nochmal eine ganz andere Art der Lagerung. Und wir können jetzt mal ein Comparative Tasting, also ein 1:1 Tasting machen zwischen einem Whisky, der in Tel Aviv gelagert wurde, sagen wir mal normal, für 2 Jahre, 10 Monate. Und zwar ist das ein Rotwein aus Israel. Also Israel ist auch sehr bekannt für ihren Rotwein. Sehr fruchtig, sehr viele Trauben und ein Rotwein, der sehr lebendig ist. Und den habe ich hier links in meinem Glas. Ja. Wow. 2 Jahre, 10 Monate. Heftige Geschichte. Also er ist richtig aufgeladen hat. Wahnsinnig fruchtig, sehr viele rote Früchte, sehr viele Trauben. Ja, kennt man vielleicht, weiß nicht, wer schon von euch M&H probiert hat, ist ein Riesending. Ich habe hier mit den Leuten hier von der Brennerei, durfte ich das Fass hier öffnen und habe hier jetzt das gleiche Fass, gleiches Alter, aber eben zur Hälfte hier am Toten Meer gelagert. Jetzt gucken wir mal, wie sich das Ganze verhält. Wahnsinn. Boah, viel stärker. Also viel heftiger. Man merkt auch schon ein bisschen dunkler. Und es hat viel mehr Eiche. Also es hat viel mehr gearbeitet, das Fass. Und es hat Gewürze drin. Wenn man mich im Blind Tasting fragen würde, hätte ich gesagt, ja okay, das eine ist europäische Eiche, das andere ist amerikanische Eiche. Es sind aber wirklich die gleichen Fässer. Also es sind wirklich Schwesterfässer, wurden gleich abgefüllt, gleich nebeneinander. Dieses Fass hier bedeutend stärker. Auch interessant ist, sie füllen mit ca. 64% ab, ist jetzt aber schon angestiegen auf ca. 67%, weil eben niedrige Luftfeuchte, hohe Temperaturen Da verdunstet das Wasser schneller als der Alkohol und die ABVs steigen, während natürlich der Angel Share eine ganze Menge aus dem Fass mit rausnimmt. Ja, das war mal ein kleines Tasting am Toten Meer. Das ist eins von diesen experimentellen Warehouses, die sie hier haben. Und ja, jetzt geht es gleich weiter. Ja, das war's mit der Produktion und jetzt geht's weiter mit einem kleinen englischen Interview. Yeah, this was it with the production, and now I'm sitting here with the head distiller, Tomer Goran. And yeah, you have 20 years of distilling experience?
Yeah, actually a little bit more than 20 years, but I started at home.
Oh, you started at home?
Hobby distillation. Unlike Germany, it's not illegal.
Okay.
So we are very lucky to be able to distill at home. Of course, you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because it can be bad. But
yeah, so you also picked up a little bit of experience in Scotland?
Yeah, I've worked for a while in some Scotch distilleries. But most of my experience is here in M&H. Actually, I'm from day one with M&H from 2013.
Okay. So you, together with Dr. Jim Swan, you really set up the business here?
So together with Dr. Jim Swan, the late Dr. Jim Swan, who unfortunately passed away in February 2017, we planned the production floor, the production process. Of course, we worked on the recipe of the future whiskey to come. He helped us a lot, mostly because of his expertise in hot climate whiskey production, which was very important to us to do things properly, to do things right. And he was, of course, the biggest expert in the world of hot climate whiskey production. Okay,
and you've told me that the small still that you have here for the gin, that was your still?
Yeah, actually I had 250 liters spirit still at home, which was very nice.
Can you just buy them off the shelf here? Or?
Well, I bought them from Portugal.
Portugal?
It's Alembic, Portuguese style stills, which is not very common in the whiskey industry. There are some distilleries that I know that working with this type of still, but it gives really good results.
So how do you do it at home? Do you have like a steam engine or?
I had a small steam engine.
Oh, you did?
I built a small distillery, actually a small distillery
that is amazing.
at home at my basement.
Okay.
And I had steam, I had chillers.
So if that was like more than 20 years ago, how old were you?
Don't say anyone. I was
18.
From 17 years.
Okay. Then you're allowed to still probably not drink, but
yeah. No, if it's for private consumption, it's okay.
It's okay. Okay, so very lovely. I've seen so much about your products, and can I have a try of your
Okay, so let's try with the classic.
Okay.
Which is, I like to call it a table whiskey, but it represents the distillery character. What we aim to do here, and we present this in the all 4 core range products, is to make some balanced whiskey. And it's very, very easy with our rapid maturation in the hot climate to go crazy and to let the cask work and over matured. But what we try to do is to work with the cask, to monitor the maturation process, and to give some well-balanced, although feels like matured whiskey.
It's amazing. This how old would it be around? Is it? It's at least 3 years, right?
Well, of course, we are following the Scotch regulations. The lack of regulations for the whiskey industry in Israel led us to follow the Scotch regulation, to adopt it, and voluntarily, because we were aiming global from day one, I think the Scotch are the most acceptable regulations in the world of whiskey.
They are very honest.
Yes.
You do know what you have in your glass if you say this is a Scotch Single Malt.
Of course, and it's very important for us when we send the whiskey abroad, when we export it, that the people will know what they get. So at least 3 years and 1 day in cask. Of course, now we're more close to 4, but to be honest, in blind tasting, if you blind taste it, it feels older than it.
Hot climate, 3.5 years is like, I don't know, 12 years or 15 years, something like that.
Well, I don't like the formulas because every cask reacts differently.
Yes, it's much different. It's not 15 years has a different touch to it than 3.5 years in a hot climate. Yeah.
Yeah, but it feels older.
What I found really interesting is what we had the comparison between your stock here and the one at the Deadsea. It's the thing is Tel Aviv and Deadsea is like, even here is day and night, and this year and let's say some Speyside or Highlander would also be day and night. So
yeah, of course.
what is like
and it gives us a window about maturation, and the maturation process, I think it's I won't say the most important, but I think it gives the biggest character part, the biggest part of character to the whiskey. About 70–80% of the character, if I can say, comes from the maturation process. And this is what we have here. Any distillery has to work with the climate that it has in the location. And in Israel we have hot and humid climate, and we need to work with this and to know how to work with this, to learn how to work with this climate. It's not just putting the whiskey into cask and it works good and anything is good. We need to change some things in the production process. We need to monitor the casks much frequently because casks works here. It's not sleeping like in Scotland, it works.
It works, yeah. So what kind of casks do we have in the Classic?
So the Classic has 75% ex-bourbon cask. Ex-bourbon is the most common cask here. I believe in ex-bourbon. I really love what it gives. It's like a white canvas. Over the ex-bourbon base, we can build the blend and put the colors with different cask types. But 75% it represents the distillery character. All the core range are based also on ex-bourbon casks. Over the ex-bourbon here, to give it more depth, more spices, a little bit more mouthfeel, we put 25% STR. And STR shaved, toast, recharred cask, formerly wine casks.
I do have to say, it's an intense spirit. It has a lot of oaky character, and 46% transport, also a lot. I think I'm just a little bit biased because I had so many other things now that are so glowing with flavor. This is a, as you said, table whiskey, but still, for if you compare it to other, let's say, drinking table whiskeys in the world, I would say this is an intense one still.
Yeah, it has more character. It is more intense. Of course, it's 46% ABV, like all the 4 bottles in the core range. We don't go below that because we are not doing any chill filtration. Of course, all colors here are natural from the cask. We don't do any coloring. So that's very important to understand. But this represents the base of M&H, the heart of M&H.
I would say, yeah. That is, but it's a nice drinking whiskey. You have to like intense whiskeys, but then it's a nice drinking whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe for those who are used to drink 40%, 40% whiskeys, maybe it will be a little bit harsh at the beginning, but second sip will make it much better.
Yeah. So I had a little talk with all the people here, and you call yourself head distiller. Other people call yourself master distiller. So what's up with that?
Well, I think it's some kind of they're making a joke of it. But to be honest, I learned for master distiller, and I'm not feeling good calling myself master distiller in an industry of really respectable people. I won't say names, but there are people who works 50, 60 years in this industry. They are masters. I'm learning new stuff every day. And I have a lot to experiment and a lot to learn. And I'm only in my beginning of the career. So
so you're a bit of a humble person.
No, no. I know my place, and I give a lot of respect to the real masters in the industry.
Yeah. So, but you want to follow that up, and maybe in 10 years or 15 years or something.
Maybe. When I will feel it's right.
You will know when you feel like you're a master distiller. Yeah.
Right now I'm head distiller. This is my position here. I'm responsible for all what you get inside the bottle, and I think I think you did amazing product. I don't need a title. Yeah. I'm just doing my job. I'm enjoying it. This is the most important thing.
Yeah, for me it was amazing when you told me the thing with the high cuts. After you've just heard it from somebody's like, obviously you need high cuts, but if you've not heard it from somebody, you would probably, if I would open up a distillery and not known that, and probably just produce bitter stuff.
Yeah, so we talked about hot climate maturation, and we don't produce the spirit just as any distillery. We need to think about the maturation process. And if we think about the maturation process in Israel, we know in advance that we are not going to mature the spirit for a long time. Yeah. That's why we don't want a lot of faints to go inside the distillate, because it will need an oxidation time. Yeah. And we don't need it, and we don't have this time. Yeah. So what we do is cutting very high, from 80% to 70% compared to any distillery in the world. I think it is very high. And we still get the oiliness, the mouthfeel, the body of the spirit of putting the line arm in degrees down. Yeah. 45 degrees down, that gives us a little bit character, a little bit oil. And that's how we...
Still, you have to think about it to how to get the oiliness still in there and have a lighter spirit without the heavy alcohols. Yeah. But what I really love to see is the next one is the red wine, right?
Yes.
And yeah.
So a little bit about the Elements Series. So the Elements Series is the next tier in our portfolio. It's still in the core range. And in the Elements Series, we still have about 50% ex-bourbon and STR casks. Okay. Just like we had in the Classic, but we add another cask type to each one of them. So it gives you more depth, it gives you more interest. And of course, I think from the 4 bottles, I think anyone can find at least one bottle that he would like or happy to buy. It gives you a range, a variety of flavors, of taste, that I think it's a good portfolio as a base.
Yeah. So the red wine, is that from Israel then?
Yes. So Red Wine Cask we source from Israel, not because we have really good wine industry here, but the main reason for sourcing red wine cask from Israel is the kosher issues. Oh, okay. And when you talk about kosher issues in whiskey, the only main issue is about the casks and what the cask contained before we are using it. So any grape product that we are taking the cask from must be kosher. Oh, okay. So if we talk about red wine, the wine must be kosher, and then we can use the casks. Okay. It's very easy to source kosher wines casks in Israel. And of course, we have really good wines. So
I guess the demand for kosher whiskey in wine in Israel is
quite
high.
There are kosher wines all over the world, but it's hard to source the cask of it. Yes. And here we have a lot of friends, a lot of good wineries, and we can source really good casks for our whiskey. But nowadays we are focusing on Mediterranean grape varieties, like Carignan. Okay. We really like the character that it gives. And if we talk about the wine industry in Israel, hot climate, so it has mostly a lot of body, very heavy wines. Not all of them, but
when you talk about wine, you talk about real wine, not fortified wine.
Yes.
Yes, it's
real proper red wine casks. Okay. We also have a fortified wines in Israel, which we use the casks also. Oh, okay. Of course, here we have also the problem of kosher issues, because fortified wine, it's grape-based product, it must be kosher also. So we cannot take just port cask from Portugal. We must have proper kosher fortified wine from Israel.
Okay.
So the red wine, and to be honest, when it comes to red wine cask in whiskey, I'm not a big fan.
Really?
I'm not a big fan.
I'm a really big fan of red wine cask.
Yeah, so
it's a matter of
what
taste.
I try to do here is to give my interpretation for how I think whiskey should be matured or in wine casks, or how wine casks should be used in the whiskey industry. Not in the front, not overwhelmed, just a well-balanced wine notes in the background.
In the background, okay. Yeah, I do have a good amount of a bourbon cask note in there. You feel the 50% bourbon cask, and you feel the American oak in there.
Yep.
But you do have the grapiness, and for me it's like grapes and also red berries and all that kind of stuff. And,
it gives
I do love that.
more layer of paint to the ex-bourbon STR casks. It's very complex, and it changes in the glass. What 46% gives us in the glass is that the whiskey is changing, and you can go for a journey in every glass.
Oh, this is a bit different than I had in the warehouses. Maybe the warehouses were a bit hotter. And
well, it all depends on the...
But this one is a bit more fresh. I do like it, but I'm really just one of these persons who likes a bit of a juicy berry touch to it. This just opens it up to...
No, I think what you tasted is the one from the vatting tank. We are working on a red wine vat right now, and it's still not final.
Yeah, but I had one at the Deadsea as well. That was just juicy.
The Deadsea gives you a lot of extract, a lot of flavors from the cask, and it is really juicy. The wine cask works really amazing there.
Yeah, I've heard that you have a lot of experimenting as well. I've heard about, like, what was that? Something with orange and the
yeah.
wine
So we'll talk about it when we come to the Apex series. But as Israelis, we really like to innovate, to experiment, and to do crazy things. We always think what will come tomorrow, what will be new thing in the industry, for the industry. And we really try to innovate when it comes to cask, when it comes to any part, any step in the production process.
Yeah, the beauty is like when you have the innovation process for you is a bit shorter. So that you have a feedback cycle. You just try something and like,
one of the advantages are that the casks are working really fast in this climate. And after 3-4 months of maturation, we can already see where it goes to, or what main flavors comes from the cask. Of course, it will change, but we can start to imagine how it will be after 3 years.
Oh yeah. The thing is with the fast maturation, are you already like done with your warehousing space? Do you need more warehousing space in the future?
It's always a problem with us that we don't have enough space in the warehouses.
I thought like when you have like short cycles, you don't need that much space to warehouse. Is it?
Well, we are producing every day and filling cask every day, and we need more and more space for maturation.
Okay.
So we already have another warehouse outside the city. Just outside Tel Aviv, and part of the casks are there, and maybe in the future we will have more, but we also have 5 different warehouses, small warehouses all over the climate zones, all over Israel, in 5 different climate zones. So we have Jerusalem Mountain, we have the Dead Sea, of course, we have Sea of Galilee, we have the desert, and we have one just 20 minutes beside the Dead Sea with totally different climate.
Crazy. I was just thinking about, Israel is just hot and that's it, but I found out that you have like the different layers, and I was really amazed how the Dead Sea with the air pressure is just, you can actually see how the air pressure affects the whiskey. It's like,
of course, it's fascinating to see.
Fascinating.
Of course, we learn new stuff every day. It's still on experimental stage, but we will give you, the whiskey drinkers, sneak windows.
Yeah,
to see.
That's the beauty. I think it's already mentioned. Like you have the two pillars. Like you have the old tradition and you have the new innovation, and that's what Tel Aviv is all about.
Tel Aviv, yeah. Tel Aviv and Jaffa is the same concept, the same city. And Jaffa is 3,000 years old and Tel Aviv is 100 years old. And it all mixed. And like us, we are using old methods of whiskey production to produce a new way of thinking, a new world whiskey.
Yeah.
And it's mixed, and I like it.
Yeah. So then the next one is the sherry.
Next one is the sherry.
Is that like trouble for the certification and stuff?
Well, the sherry the sherry is the whiskey that won the World Whiskey Awards Best Single Malt for 2023.
Nice.
And for the sherry, from the beginning, we didn't want to give up on Sherry Cask because I think the world of whiskey, the whiskey drinkers will expect some Sherry Casks. Sherry is a very dominant style in the whiskey industry. And to be able to mature in Sherry Casks, we had to do a seasoning project in south of Spain.
Oh, okay.
Because there is no kosher sherry. And sherry is a grape-based product.
Okay.
So what we are doing for 5 years already is producing more than 55,000 liters of kosher sherry every year only for us for seasoning the casks.
Oh, okay.
And we are seasoning casks for 1 year in south of Spain, then sending the cask over here. I don't know what they are doing with the kosher sherry. I think they are just using it for different styles of sherry, not kosher after that. But to be able to do this project, we need to bring the rabbi from Barcelona to south of Spain to see the process, to verify that it's all by the kosher rules.
Okay.
And to be
so
honest,
it's a bit of a hassle for you to make that whiskey.
It's a very expensive process, but I think it gives the results. The positive part of this process is that we are able to follow the process of making the sherry, to taste the wine itself, and not only sourcing old sherry cask from a broker.
Yes, you do have. Even if the rabbi has a look at the process, while the rabbi does it, you have a look at the process, so you're totally in control of the process.
Yes.
Yes. What I do like is, compared to the red wine, it's much more creamy and a little bit more sweetness to it and a little bit more round to it.
Well, I think it's the crowd pleaser from our portfolio, and it gives you some sweetness with silkiness. It covers your mouth, and also some spiciness and chocolate finish, and I really like it.
It has a good amount of that spiciness, sweetness
Yeah.
thing.
The sherry types that we use here is PX and Oloroso, and PX gives you sweetness but also spiciness, and Oloroso gives you a little bit sour finish but also silkiness and well bodied.
It's a very intense one if you come from a normal whiskey connoisseur side. I've tried the PX peated in the Dead Sea, so this compared to that one is the light one.
Oh, it's totally different, totally different style.
Well, I like it. It's nice, round, but still a lot of intensity in there. I mean, the whole style of intensity just walks through your. I think that's your distillery character in there.
Yep.
Intense cask.
And we still have the distillery character in all the core range products. So the last element is the peated one. And here also I gave my interpretation for peated whiskies. And nowadays when we think about peated whiskies, most of the people, we think about really heavily peated whiskies from Islay.
Okay.
What we are trying to do is to balance things and to make it peated, lightly peated, just as I think a proper peated whiskey should be.
So, is it peated and in production or just from the cask?
Well, it's a combination between peated new make aged in ex-bourbon casks and unpeated new make aged in ex-Islay casks. So we gives it two styles of peat, combine it, and it gives more complexity, and it gives more, it's very interesting. And it's also it's really lightly peated, so the peat doesn't cover all the other flavors. You still have the creaminess, you still have grassiness, you still have some sweetness in the palate.
So how often do you do peated whiskey?
Usually our style is unpeated at all. Twice a year, every half a year, we are doing 2 weeks of peat.
Oh, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
And the peat barley come sometimes from Czech Republic. They have really nice peat, different style of peat, different flavors of peated barley. And sometimes from UK as our regular barley.
But it has a freshness to it, but strangely enough, it's not that phenolic freshness to it.
Because it's not only Islay style of peat, it's also the peat that comes from the Czech Republic. It's more earthy. Less medicinal, less
but what's strange, you have a little bit of a light note in there. I don't know what it is, but eucalyptus, peppermint, I don't know, but just, or is it just me? I don't know. So, but it's the fourth one, right?
Yeah, the fourth one.
But it does have a peatiness to it.
The peat, we feel the peat mostly in the palate. In the finish, you still have it. In the nose, it's really, really light.
Yeah, it is.
So I like to think about this whiskey as a good gate for the peated whiskies, or nice peated whiskey for those who doesn't really like peated whiskeys, just want to understand what it is.
Oh, your peat is in the aftertaste, or in the middle and the after. Ooh. No, it's working itself up there. Yeah, it hides a bit in the glass. In the mouth, there's.
And it's nice. It's complex. I think whiskey should be balanced. Not heavily peated. Of course, if you like it, drink it.
I think this one is a bit different to the others. I think this one is a bit more fresh and yeah.
It uses less regular ex-bourbon and SPR casks, more of the peated casks. So it goes more to the character of the other casks and not to the base. So that's why it's a little bit different.
Yeah. The others are really, loaded with flavor. This one is a bit fresher. It does have the peatiness flavor to it. The other ones are.
It comes from the background and then it goes to the front at the end.
Yeah, but I see why you call them elements, where you have different elements that are sticking out of your classical distillery.
And still very important for us to maintain the distillery character inside.
Yeah, it has that, but it has one of two flavors elements sticking out of it. I like it. It's a nice idea behind the core range. I do like it.
Thank you.
So you're leading the team of distillers here. So how is the kosher rule affecting you?
Well, to be honest, not very much. We don't feel it in the daily time. Only when receiving casks, the rabbi should come and see the container and sign on every cask.
But you are strictly not allowed to have a 7-day schedule then?
Yes, we are not working on weekends. That reduces the capacity of the distillery. But we are still not working on our full capacity. Okay. So it won't affect us in the next few years. Only when we reach to the full capacity, then we have 1.5 days that we are not able to work, and it will hurt.
Would you be allowed to fully automate these 2 days, or is that?
No, you're not allowed to work on.
You're just not allowed to get into the building and do anything there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in fully automation. Sorry, but I still believe that the nose, the human, the people, they are part of the whiskey making. You are not able to fully replace the people. Sure. I think you have is that your office is right next to the distills? You just go out something wrong here. It won't work.
I've met a few master distillers who said, I just want to have a walk through the distill at least once a day to just get the smell and know everything is all right.
So I come into the distillery in the morning, smell the mashing, I know that everything is good or something is different. But every process has its unique smell, and you feel it.
Yeah, what I like about your style is that you do have quite a controlled environment. You have the modern equipment, you have the water jacket, you have a lot of control.
Yeah, so
there.
during the production process until the new make, we need to monitor things and to control the temperatures because we are in very hot climate.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Maturation are not controlled. It's all totally free, totally open to the air and to the climate.
Yeah, you really embracing like the terroir, the climate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terroir in whiskey, for me, is not the field, is not the barley. Terroir is more the maturation time. It's what gives the character of the place, of the people, of the time to the whiskey.
It's the climate and the wood.
Of course.
Yeah, the wood is also always like, where does it come from? What's been there before? How was the wood treated and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, these are like the two most important things that go into the whiskey. Yep. So the last one is now...
the last one is part of the Apex series.
What is the Apex series?
So the Apex series, if here in the core range we try to maintain the distillery character and we try to balance things and to make it easy to drink, here we give the cask work in the Apex series. And the Apex series is split into two types. One is focused on cask types, very interesting casks that we pick, and very small batches, and focus on different casks, special casks, exceptional casks. The second one is based on terroir or on climate zones. So the first one is from the Dead Sea. We already had 3 expressions from the Dead Sea, part of the Apex. All small batches, up to 5,000 bottles, and it bottled of course, in higher alcohol strength.
Okay.
So let's drink the Dead Sea, the last one that we released.
Is that like, but it's still a blend of different casks?
It's small batches. So here, for example, we have 23 casks aged at the Dead Sea that entered this this batch, and every time it will be different. It's not won't be consistent like these bottles.
I don't know. Is that almonds? Is that? It's
and this is at 55.5% ABV.
Yeah, the Dead Sea is for me. It's like I do love the spirit, but my heart really bleeds when you come to the number of we have 25% angel shares. Like what?
25% angel share because of the heat, because of the high air pressure, because of the it's really dry there all of the year. So think about 50 degrees, very dry, high air pressure. The casks are exhausted, and it's even a little bit break in the top. So evaporation is very quick, 25% a year in average. And that means that we are not able to mature for 3 years at the Dead Sea. We are sending the cask back to the distillery after 1.5 year at the Dead Sea.
To have it in the cool Tel Aviv.
Yeah, in cool Tel Aviv.
Cool Tel Aviv.
Reduce the angel share for 11%.
It's reduced. This is, for everybody else, it's just crazy to have that kind of angel share, but it's just yes, it's a very expensive way of producing, but it produces so crazy crazy flavors and intensities and strengths.
It's really intense. Not all of the people will like it, but something that you cannot avoid.
I think, yeah, if you have some beginners type, they will be totally overwhelmed. This is 55% ABV, matured in the kind of the fastest way you can, with a lot of intense oak, intense wood, and I still feel it in my mouth quite a lot.
So in Germany, we have a few more of the Apex series.
Yeah, we did have them in our shop there.
We also have these black bottles, which are part of the Apex series, and the black bottles are really unique, exceptional single cask that I personally picked for the Apex series. Only single casks are bottled in the black bottles.
Okay, so what is special about these two?
This is just an example for innovation. And the pomegranate wine cask, Granatapfel.
Oh, yeah.
And Granatapfel is very Israeli in one way and innovative in the world of whiskey in the other hand.
Yeah, I've had the pomegranate at the Deadsea, and that was quite amazing. It's I expected different results. I'm not quite sure if it was sweet or creamy, but it was crazy good. I liked it.
It's really different from any whiskey that you already that you tasted so far.
And the black one?
The black one is just an example for the single casks from the Apex.
Okay, what kind of cask is it?
This particular one is a peated fortified red wine cask. It's empty. It's empty bottle.
Was it that good?
just for the.
So the black ones are then only single cask?
The black ones are only single cask, up to 8 casks that we pick every year.
Okay.
And
they are really exclusive then?
Yeah, they are exclusive. They are interesting, very special casks, but exclusive and expensive.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yes, I do have to say, yeah, you are a bit more expensive, but if you look at the process, if you look at all the stuff you have, I think you've earned the extra price for that. Yeah.
Well, we're trying to do whiskey with no compromission on every aspect and step of the process, and I hope the people can see it when they can feel it when they drink the whiskey.
Yes, I do like it that you're kind of the pioneers in the business. I think there are now followers for you, but you were like the first proper or the first whiskey distillery in Israel.
Yeah, and we are the first. We are also the biggest now in Israel, but we are very happy with any more distilleries that popping up in Israel, and I hope the whiskey industry, the whiskey community in Israel will grow, and we will have some good category of Israeli whiskey.
I have to say, I was a bit skeptical at the beginning. It was like, okay, really, Israeli whiskey? But then I tried I think it was a young whiskey or something you called it? Young single malt, you called it?
Again,
I was like, okay, this is a young single malt, seriously? What are they releasing? And then I had the classic, and I was like, whoa, okay, they are serious business. They are not just like, yeah, that's a joke.
Yeah, again, we didn't call it whiskey
really
before it was 3 years. Yeah. So that's why we chose young single malt. But it was important for us to let people see what we are doing during the process, not only wait for the whiskey.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So yeah, I never thought that, but Israeli whiskey is a thing now.
Well, I hope it will be bigger and bigger, and we will have some industry in Israel.
Yeah, I think we'll probably meet in a couple of years again, and then we'll see. But I guess you're up to the task if you can find new warehouses.
We also have one more distillery that we just started distillation in the more northern part of Israel.
Ah, okay, nice. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for giving us all these information, and yeah.
Thank you, and I hope to visit you in Germany soon.
Oh yeah, thank you very much, and yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and if you found this video interesting, then please feel free to share that with your other whiskey friends. It's a nice way to share these information with people out there, and yeah, thank you very much for watching.
L'chaim und Slanjima, einen guten Apex M&H Whisky im Toten Meer. Boah. Das ist geil.